Mr. Darren Lombardo.
Good evening, Board. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come before you this evening and talk to you about some things. First of all, I wanted to just express, I looked in tonight's agenda, and there was a couple things that actually pointed out to me as we turned 5 pages into this. We have some definitions for the school system, and I could bring your attention, if I could bring your attention to number 4, it's labeled harassment. We have some strikeouts here, which that's fine, but I'm going to read it. It says, includes actual or perceived negative actions that offend, ridicule, or demean another student with regard to race, ethnicity, national origin, immigration status, family, parental or marital status, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, religion, ancestry, physical attributes, socioeconomic status, physical or mental ability, disability, or other identifying characteristics by a student which adversely affects that student's ability to participate or benefit from the school's educational program. Keep that in mind for a second. And on the next page, we have number 7, sexual harassment, unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors and/or other inappropriate verbal, written, or physical contact of sexual nature directed towards others. So keep that in mind, because in a little bit we're going to apply that terminology. So the first thing, last time I came here last month, I talked a little bit about DEI, SEL, and CRT. One thing I didn't really elaborate on is inclusivity. Inclusivity, we are absolutely to be inclusive of everyone that comes to the school. Just according to what I just said, all of those attributes. It doesn't matter what your race is, it doesn't matter your orientation, everyone should be provided an education, hands down. Inclusivity, we are to include everyone, extend opportunities to everyone, no matter what. What inclusivity does not include is an endorsement of behaviors. And the school system has combined the fact that everyone is to receive an appropriate education, and they have taken behaviors and meshed the two together to convolute the fact that if someone wants to be deviant, sexual in nature, do this or that, or go and punch someone in the face, that would be inclusive behavior by accepting that in the school system. It is behaviors are not part of inclusivity, just to make clear. So we are not, as a school system, to promote or endorse deviant behavior. Social justice. I want to talk about social justice for a second, because the term, everyone can agree that social justice is something that as Americans we are to make sure that society is just. The laws are equally applied to everyone, no matter what. Under the Constitution, laws are written to every man to make sure that equality is applied. We live in a world. Sometimes it's not equally applied. We live in a fallen world. That is a fact. And so, as a society, as a school system, in discipline in school, we need to equally apply the law. And so what we've had occur in the school system is double standards. Some sets of rules for some kids and another set of rules for another. And sadly, it's based upon color sometimes. And we don't need to do it. That is demeaning to humans. It's demeaning. And so we need to make sure we apply that equally. And social justice, the term has been corrupt. Social justice, under the U.S. Constitution, all men are to be created equal. We know the Bible says that too. God created all men to be equal. And so when it comes to social justice, the school system and what we see being trickled down into society is it's defined as receiving what is demanded for a desired outcome. So for example, if there's something that I don't like and it I may be convicted of it, I did something wrong, whatever. If I don't like it, I scream social injustice to get my way so that I'm no longer convicted of that. But that's inequality, that's inequity. And so why would we do that? It's all throughout the curriculum, and that's tragic. Anti-racism. We see anti-racism in the school. The term anti-racism sounds absolutely beautiful. To be anti-racist would be, we're not to be racist towards anyone. But anti-racism is not that. Anti-racism uses racism to counteract racism. Say, well, how can that be? That's not right. And so what we really want to say as a school system is to be against all forms of racism. But anti-racism isn't that. It's an ideology. It's a cult. It's a religious cult. And so, for example, Ibram X. Kendi, he wrote the book Stamped. You've seen that presented in the board here and there, and it's in all of our schools. And he's really coined the godfather of anti-racism. And he says, according to him, you're either a racist or an anti-racist. If you say that you're not a racist, or remain neutral or quiet on the subject, then you're a racist. You must be actively involved in anti-racist activism in accordance to his specifications in order to not be classified as a racist. So by default, you are racist automatically, without even opening up your mouth. You're automatically racist based on the color of your skin. How do I know that? I sat in on Kendi's, he was invited to, I believe it was the Frederick County Library or Montgomery County Library, and he was paid 20 grand to speak for an hour. And the moderator asked him, is it capable, or is a certain race capable of being racist towards Caucasians? He immediately changed the subject. He would not answer the question, because if he were to answer it, then his ideology would fall all apart. The bottom line is, racism is real. It's a real problem, alive and well. It's been here since man was on the earth. Is it a problem? It is a problem. It's always been. And the thing is that people have agitated it and used mechanisms to divide people when we need to be real with each other. Okay? I've seen things get worse over the years than better. And I've seen people capitalize off our citizens. Consultants, thousands of dollars the board will throw at consultants to come in to tell you how racist you are. Now that doesn't make any sense. But do we need to be real? Yes. Racism is real. But what I see is the real systemic racism, because that's used to identify, to say the school system by default is racist and irredeemably racist, that the whole premise of systemic racism and the implementation of some of these books to divide creates the systemic racism. And so you have to be able to identify it and see what's actually going on. And so the objective here, or why I'm here today, is to say, why are we doing this? Why aren't we uniting people? Diversity in culture, sharing cultures, people from different countries, how we do things differently. That's been in curriculum back when I was in school. Those are beautiful things to explore and learn different things and build relationships and friends and the differences and celebrating it. Beautiful. But to divide people and tell people oppressed versus oppressor, and just by default, a person that is a certain color is automatically condemned, and if you're this color or that color, you get a pass go. If you're this sexual orientation or that sexual orientation, you get a pass go, or you get strikes against you. That's no way for a school system or society to be. No way at all. So what happens is people say we need to have the tough discussions about things like this. And so, we could talk about it, it's not a problem. But to default an ideology and say that that's the way it is, and you say, well, we have to have these discussions, but the minute someone comes out and talks about it, they're automatically labeled a supremacist or a racist, and the discussion gets shut down. How tragic. That doesn't teach our kids to have productive discussion on the matters. So anyway, I wanted to give you some thought on that we're all to be equal, and we all need to have equal opportunity, and we must be united. And I'll tell you, the people in this community, we won't stop until we're united. We won't stop. So, if we're going to advance Marxist agendas in the school system, or we're going to do this and that to divide people, that is not productive in society. And I'm going to tell you, the people of Somerset County are not going to allow it. We want to love each other and unite each other. Now, just to end here, I wanted to talk about some good news, positive note. Yesterday, the Coalition of Maryland Parents filed suit, happened to be in this county, any county in all of Maryland, it was filed here against the state of Maryland for their mask mandate, which was an absolute overreach. Now, they're alleging that the 180-day extension was done illegally. And so they're going after the state. Parents have come from all over the state, pull money out of their pocket to battle the state, and it's coming. And so I wanted just to share that with you if you weren't aware of that already. And I wanted to encourage you. I watched the news the other night and saw the superintendent on the news, and he was interviewed. He had, I think it was WMDT, WBOC, and nice interview and all that. Happy, no mask, news reporter right in front of him, another guy in front of him, no mask in a school building, not even a mask sitting on the table. And I said, why is there a double standard here? I was confused about that. But the positivity of the superintendent to remove these masks, guess what? The power is in this board here. And it doesn't matter about the MSDE, it doesn't matter about the legislators, it doesn't matter about anyone. Tonight, right now, they could vote to remove these masks. And they have the authority to do that, just like Carroll County did. And Carroll County said, we're not using masks. And guess what? The state can't do a darn thing. And guess what? They cannot be defunded for it. And so they're already receiving funds to fund the actual school system. And so the ESSER funds for all of this going on with the COVID relief funds, they will lose that if they give up the masks. And so our children were sold at a price. And so here we have tonight, they could rule and say, you know what, we're not going to use these masks anymore. And they would be justified in doing that. So I would encourage the board to exercise the will of the people. And by the way, it's not about throwing masks away. We're for mask choice. If someone wants to wear a mask, wear a mask. If someone doesn't want to wear a mask, that's fine too. Infection, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to get it. Whether you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, you're going to get it. And so we have to, as a society, get through it, overcome it, get over it, and that's it. But anyway, thank you for your time. And I have 45 seconds left. I'm going to hand it off to the next person. Thank you for your time.
Next we have Ms. Karen Abbott.